Do you see vampires any different?
Good evening, good afternoon, wherever you find yourself in this weird, wild, wacky rollerverse. I will explain that question in a few minutes. And welcome to another exciting installment of Darkness in Dublin. This evening's scene takes place in Carpe Infernum, what used to be a goth bar located in the centre of Dublin proper, owned by Mr. Gravedigger, also known as the fashionista from beyond the grave, and the man who's so chill, he's almost a corpse. Moving on. The large interior of the nightclub is a large ovular shape. The bar running down the left-hand side. Light streams down from above you, from a number of chandeliers affixed to the ceiling that spill down a vaguely purple light onto the dance floor. Though the dance floor is currently not occupied, there's no DJ blasting out the sick beats that kids listen to nowadays, with the head bopping and the bippity bopping and all of the other oppings that can be thought of. Apparently the universe doesn't like my comedy. It's fine. Don't worry about it. No. This evening it has been replaced with a number of plinths that have been set up in order to show off the various different items that are to be auctioned off this evening to the lucky buyers, to the masses who choose to put their money quite literally where their mouth is. I beg your pardon. Sorry. Wait, something went down the wrong tube there. You will be ushered inside. There's no bouncers or security this evening. However, you sense very much this place doesn't need it. For those of you who are that way inclined, this place is dripping with magic, almost palpably so. It almost oozes from the walls. This isn't nice stuff. This feels dark. This feels black. This feels like that one time that you went out for that night of Mardi Gras, and by God, you came home with a voodoo curse and one kidney. But c'est la vie.
Good times.
College years. With that in mind, kids, I'm going to sweep down the row of you, and you may intro your characters. Some of you will be coming in with NPCs, but some of you will not. So, first on my list is Sticky. Mr. Connor Fletcher, you're up first.
Hello there. I assume I arrived probably with Ryan.
Yeah, that would be correct.
That's fine.
I'm dressed for the occasion, and I'm going to just say for flavour that my character is having a drink.
Okay. All right, so next up, we're going to have Austin. You're going to wheel yourself on in.
Energon wheels himself in. He's got glasses on his face, which is a little different than for those who have met him before. He is looking around, and I take it they're small little open bars.
Mm-hmm.
And he will head to one of the bars and order himself a vodka tonic as he looks around the room. These are the two effects that I have active.
Okay. As you look at the various different items.
They are inside chat.
As you look at the various different items or requests to look at individual items, I can give you various different bits of information as to what you see. Next up, we have Sir Christian.
Sir Christian will arrive, hands in pockets of a red and white Adidas tracksuit, chimerical aspect of his courtly raiment, I suppose. He has a chromatic dragonfly brooch pinned over one breast, and his hair is loose and unbound, hanging to his waist, and radiant gold, like the bounce of human hair, but all the appearance and sheen of actual golden thread. His face is carved in perfection, not Snow White, but very fair, but with the warmth of life rather than an animate statue.
Next up, we are going to have. Well, Ryan's already introed, so I'll just hop over.
Yeah. Oh, can
we
I
are
bring
going.
Sophie with me?
Yeah, you can bring Sophie with you.
Yay. Okay.
She is very nonplussed at existence, but then again, that's Sophie in general.
She's useful.
Yeah.
And her jump scares at the gorgeous man.
He is so pretty. Oh, why? Why is he so pretty? Can I peel off his face and live with it? Next up, we have Theodus. Theodus, you will enter with Madame Dena Frey, who is pictured on screen.
Yes. Yeah, he walks in with Man Nofre. Theodus is dressed in a rather formal attire. It's kind of like basically like a formal black jacket and black black linen trousers and black shoes and a white long sleeved office shirt and a tie. His hair's fairly neatly combed, but he's walking with a cane. It's pretty clear that his legs are a little bit duff. He doesn't walk very quickly at all. In fact, he walks at a very sluggish pace. But doesn't seem too nonplussed by it. He just kind of walks at his own pace, doesn't really mind if Dena Frey overtakes him or not. And he just scans.
I will point out Dena Frey purposefully keeps pace with you, so she walks at your speed.
He would fly, but that would be kind of rude. Yeah, he just kind of just initially scans the room with Dena Frey as he just says, well, hopefully this turns out better than the last 2 times I walked into an affair like this.
Well, considering the last 2 times involved fire, death, and screaming, I'm personally quite hopeful. Though you did manage to burn down a treasured landmark last time, and I'm led to understand that in order to do that, you had to levitate locomote yourself at incredible speed down a corridor.
Yes, that was actually one of my finer moments, believe it or not.
I like how you categorize this as a fine moment. Well done, apprentice. We're just going to move on. So next up, we have Paul. Paul, you are up the nextest.
Okay. For people with normalized and no magical perceptions, you see the image on the left. He is finely dressed with the latest fashions. No expense was spared in dressing himself. He is wearing a nice suit, some fine Italian silks. He's got an expensive Rolex watch. His shoes have a nice polish to it, look brand new. His hair is slicked back, not a single hair is out of place. Besides that, the most striking part of him is his eyes are an impossible silver.
Nice.
He kind of walks in full of confidence. For people with special sights who can see changelings, you'll see kind of laid over top of that image, the image on the right, which is best described as an elf, with those same impossible silver eyes. And his clothing, as opposed to a nice Armani suit, are more regal that you'd expect of a noble from the feudal era. And a dragon on a black field is prominent on a cloak.
Austin has query. If it's there.
Qu'est-ce que c'est?
I would have always said that if you have mind sight on, you can see a changeling's mien.
Is that how it's been on in the venue?
Yeah, I was going to say that's how I've done it in the past, if you're cool with that.
If that's how it goes, that's how it goes.
Almost. So yeah, if you have mind set up, you see. You see both realities, basically. You see what they're presenting in the great world, and you see what they actually are.
Okay.
Cool. If this turned out to be wrong later on, and if somebody can quote me a book reference, I'll be like, cool. But I haven't been able to find one. So
I'm hunting it down now.
Hooray!
But that is what we will go with for the nows.
Excellent. So in that case, next up we will have Minnie Kim.
It's Minnie. She is wearing a pink dress with a tulle skirt that has glitter all over it, and she's wearing flowers in her hair. And when she sees Dena Frey, she's like, Dena Frey! And she runs up and gives her a hug.
Theodis, for the briefest moment, before Dena Frey turns to greet Minnie, you have this wonderful impression that she literally mouths, "Oh God." But she will turn and accept the glumping of the Minnie. And just to keep this going so we can get everyone in the room. And last but certainly not least is... Actually, no, sorry. My apologies. There are two more.
Should feed us sell this memory.
Nelson, you're up.
Boys is also dressed for the occasion, dressed in all black with black pants, black shirt, black vest, black tie, black shoes, and his own black heart. And yes, he's looking around, looking at everyone. Sees the person in pink, kind of like has this wow, just wow face, and then just takes a drink too of fine red wine, and will look at everyone around in a curious manner.
And did we introduce Budgun, or is he the last? He might. I think he's the last.
Yep.
Budgun, in contrast to everyone here, perhaps doesn't have quite the high society type look about him. When he walks in, he's wearing pretty much the typical World of 90s Gothic punk, World of Darkness fashionista specialty of the dark trench coat. And for reasons which two people in this hangout know, he bears a slight resemblance to Keith Sutherland.
All right, so somewhere out there, Caden is like, "I got you, bro. I got you." But okay, so
Caden saying other things.
Yes, because Caden is a sick fuck. Anyway, moving on. So the auction items are, as I say, laid out on plinths. There are 4 to the left, 4 to the right, and 1 that's set up right next to the auctioneer's table. If there is any items that you particularly wish to look at, the list is on the Facebook. And you may look at them now. If you have any pertinent questions for me, please, what we're going to do is we're going to have an orderly queue for this one, mostly because I don't, but yesterday we tried this and a whole bunch of people shouted a whole bunch of questions at me for about 15 minutes. So we're going to try and do this in a slightly more organized way. So I'm going to flick down the group of people, and if you have a question about a particular item or items, now is your chance to ask me. Relevant dice rolls can, of course, be made. So I'm going to go with Bishop. Do you have any questions, pertinent questions on any of the items?
So, I have those glasses.
Mm-hmm.
Can I go up to the Lazarus manuscript?
Yep.
Fuck.
It translates itself. Well,
Neat.
behind the glasses translate it for you. From what you're able to tell as you scan through the text, because it's open on one page and you're not able to open the other pages.
Okay.
And for the record, Ryan, I'm gonna just ask you to listen because Sophie will basically translate the exact same for you because she can speak the gobbledygook.
Yes.
So if you both would like to listen up, the Lazarus document deals with, or the page in question that's open. By the way, what sites do you have up, Theodis, looking at the book?
I think all of them.
Okay, well, Entropy.
All the entropy.
Yes. From the perspective of entropy, this book is about the end, the stop, the full stop, that stop that is permanent, big exclamation point. Do not pass go, do not collect $200. And from a spiritual perspective, it is a bleeding hole into the Shadowlands.
Excellent. I want it.
It is a dramatically unpleasant thing. It is so full of negative magic that it almost has its own Jor taint. For those of you who don't know what Jor taint is, it literally manifests depression for mages. It's really bad shit.
So entropy. You said entropy. This is Book of the End Times.
Not as in the Book of the End Times. That would intimate the apocalypse. A Book of the End is in death. The final quest. The final full stop.
It pertains to like the moment of death, if you get what I mean.
Basically, as you read the page, it becomes evidently apparent the author of this particular volume was obsessed with the moment that death becomes death. That life essentially changes from a state of life into a state of death. And that moment where the two change, where the two interchange and become a constant. The moment you die, at what point does death become life and life become death, etc. That's what you can ascertain from reading the page.
Oh, yeah, so they're trying to hit upon that point of conversion. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
The event horizon of death, as it were.
Obviously, you can turn the page, or you can't turn the page up. You can't really tell what else there is, but yes, that is what you're able to tell.
Okay.
Is there anything else that you would like to check up on, just so I can do all the people at once?
I am just checking through the map.
Cool. The map is a beautiful. It is a beautifully. It's not actually made of parchment. It's actually made. It's basically been etched into bronze. And it has a number of lines and sigils that are old Ogham, which once again your glasses translate for you. And it basically shows it's a whole bunch of very, very waxed poetical directions towards the gate that isn't a gate in the place that cannot be found down the road that doesn't exist.
Okay. And sorry, I'm just looking for the final one.
That's why I'm doing it like this, because it's so much easier for my life.
And the sarcophagus.
Sarcophagus isn't here. That's tomorrow night.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, my bad. I went down a bit too far. In which case, just the untold story.
The Untold Story is a book. It is closed.
Okay.
It is not open. It actually has a lock. And for those of you who have Prime Sight on, there's a shitload of magic in that lock. And what that lock is doing, it's keeping the book closed. Ironically, you can't see any Prime signature from the book itself, but you'd assume it's because the lock is keeping it dampened.
Ooh, interesting. And the Gifts of Prophecy, the readings of the Obsidian Lantern.
That's just a promissory note to give you a reading.
Okay.
Okay. I'm going to move on. Connor, is there anything in particular you want to look at that I haven't already elaborated on?
Connor is going to have a look at the cipher program document.
Okay. I'm going to ask you to roll a skill that you don't have.
Okay.
Actually, you can't roll that skill. Roll me intelligence. Do you have science?
Give me a sec. Yes, I do actually.
All right. Roll me intelligence science. Difficulty 9, needing a threshold of 3 successes.
Okay.
This is really no. When I say this is like rocket science to someone who is a caveman, that is an apt assessment. I can actually hear Austin in the background going, "Wait till I can roll my Hypertech. Wait for it."
So difficulty 9 was it?
Meeting a threshold of 3 successes, yes, it's stupidly hard.
Oh fuck! I forgot the roll bit.
Well done.
I'm
It's like-
smart, I swear.
Who's winding up a fucking disposable camera like 24/7?
Do you know what's funny? I would have got that. I would have got that if it wasn't for all the fucking ones.
Do you need a hug? I sense you need a hug.
Oh no.
I'm gonna go. I'm just gonna go run over a puppy now.
Oh.
Not even in a car. He's just gonna run across a puppy.
I'm just gonna celerity full force into a dog.
But no, it's so advanced. They're talking in theories and in relatives that you just can't understand, and it's a lot of it is to do with causality and the metric of possible to impossible, and it's just stupidly advanced. Either that, or it's bullshit. It's either really, really smart or absolute bullshit. There you go. Is that the only one you wanted to poke?
I just came here for the buffet.
I am here for the buffet. Yeah, for some reason my computer's being really slow, so it's taking me ages to actually get to the list.
I'll tell you what. I'll move on, and if you want, you can come. I can come back to you. Okay. All right. So, Paul, what did you want to look at?
The first one is the Dreambreaker.
Okay. As you get near to it, roll me a banality trigger, difficulty 7.
Okay. Let me. Where's my sheet?
So that would be your permanent glamour rating.
Yep. There's my sheet. Hey, I found it.
Hooray!
Diff 7.
Diff 7.
One.
Yeah, you only need the 1 success to ward it off, don't you, Austin? I think.
Yup.
Yep. This thing hits you with a palpable wave of sickness. This is wrong. This is wrong. Oh shit. What is this? Why is this a thing? No, no, no. No, no, no. More no with some no sauce on top.
That's why I approached it. I wanted to confirm.
You may consider it not only a confirmation, but written in the stars. The stars themselves have aligned to say no.
Is it possible to grab Christian's attention real quick?
Okay, Christian.
He was actually on his way over to the Dreambreaker himself, but when he observes your reaction, he stops and observes you.
He looks at you and he's got this pissed off look. And then looks back at it and looks back at you.
Christian blinks sapphire eyes once and nods slowly, a look of disgust and a churned stomach on his face.
And then fuck that item. And he'll move on to the map.
Okay. Once again, the map is really pretty. I mean, it doesn't look at it. It wouldn't look at a place hung on a wall, but a lot of the writing on it is written in very old Ogham, which is Celtic script.
I thought it was
beg your pardon?
Owen.
You can pronounce it either. Trust me. It can also be called Ogham. I call it Ogham, but I'm great. But we'll call it Ogham then. It's written in incredibly old Ogham script, but it is very beautiful. You can't really read the Ogham script. You need a specialist, but it has definite glamour to it, and the glamour hasn't been extinguished, hasn't been lessened, there's a lot of potential in that map, or it's meant to show you the path that maybe only you or someone who knows how to read it could read, if that makes sense. And you think that that's why there's the nascent glamour.
Is it possible I have Remembrance 4 if something might be triggered in my memories?
If you want to roll me Intelligence Remembrance, you can. It'll be difficulty 8.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So
What was that, Austin?
yep. Int remembrance diff 8 sounds right.
Okay. 1 success.
It wasn't uncommon for particularly the likes of the Master Smiths of House Dougal to do things like this, to basically put a message in a very visible form, but that if you didn't have glamour, you couldn't read. So maybe if you were to study it or hold it for long enough, there's something to it. There's a trick. You'd have to figure out what the trick was.
Gotcha. I assume there's a no touching rule.
There is a no touching rule. So
that's it.
I'm going to.
Bless you.
Thank you. So Ambrose, is there anything in particular you want to look at? Oh, I feel better now.
Otherwise, we'll first take a look at the manuscript.
Which one?
The what's it called? Big unknown manuscript.
Oh, the Lazarus document? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a very, very ugly book that appears to be scribed in either blood or very dark ink. It is covered in runes and sigils that you can't read, and appears to be bound in, well, it's bound in leather. It's up to you to assume what kind of leather that is.
I'm going to assume human leather. And anything I can roll a little intelligence occult to know more
Not
about?
really. You have no context. You'd have to be able to read what it says. From looking at the pictures, once again, it's very much to do with death.
Okay. Also going to take a look at the Untold story.
Once again, it is a beautiful book. Very, very, very well-made book. But it is there's a large lock on the book itself. It's closed, and yeah, that's what you can tell from it. There's nothing. You can see W. Grimm written on the spine of the book.
I can see. Oh, W. Grimm. Okay.
Yeah, you can see W. Grimm written on the spine of the book.
And last, I'm going to approach the Dreambreaker.
From your perspective, it's just a club. Like, there's really nothing else to it.
Okay.
It's a club with metal spikes in it. It looks really nasty. Like, you would not want to get hit in the head with this thing. Oh no.
You would want to hit someone else with it. Okay, that's it. Actually, I'll take a look at the proof that gods can bleed thing.
Okay, the proof that gods can bleed. It is a piece of fabric, maybe from a cloak. The cloak itself is red, with a hint of it's red and white to be exact. But it is definitely stained in one corner of it, quite heavily with what looks to have been dried blood. But the blood itself is quite old, and as long ago decayed, or as long ago dried. But it's definitely still there. There is definitely a stain to it.
Okay, that's it.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Next up, we have Ryan. You heard what I've said about the book, so you get the exact same information on the Lazarus document.
Bueno.
Is there anything else you'd like to look at?
I believe it's just that, actually, yeah.
Okay. Cool. In that case, we can mosey on along. Kim, you're not actually here to buy anything at the auction. So,
Nope.
cool. Christian, what did you want to look at, sir?
He doesn't need to look at the Dreambreaker anymore. He knows what he needs to, I think. But he is going to sidle on up to that map and have himself a good look.
Do you have any remembrance?
I have 2 remembrance.
You can roll me intelligence remembrance, the exact same difficulty as Paul.
Okay, I'll spend a willpower. Two then.
All right, you get basically everything I told Paul, with the possible exception of one interesting little tidbit. Bethmara, which is the city in question, its gates, which were called the Forgotten Gates, or the Gates of Forgetting, were in fact made by members of House Dougal, and they are rather prominently featured on the map. So there you go.
Pardon me?
Oh, did you not hear me?
I think we walked at the same time.
Oh, I said that the Gates of Forgetting, which was the gates that led into the city of Bethmara, were made by House Dougal, and they were simply called the Gates of Forgetting, or the Gates to be Forgotten. And they feature rather prominently on the map.
Okay. He'll tilt his head slightly to the side, curiously, eyes roving up and down across the map.
Okay. And next, Doctor, I sense that you're about to roll some intelligence hypertech.
Well, yes, I am. But the first one he's going to go to is the Untold Story, and I have Entropy, Life Forces, Matter, Mind, Prime, and Spirit. Okay. And I already have the Prime. Holy shit, the lock.
Yeah, once again, the lock seems to be keeping everything else that might be mystical about it literally locked. So there's nothing else other than that you can see. But the lock is really powerful. And
right,
you sense? I'll give this to you. I'll give this to both you and Theodis, actually, if you spend time looking at it. The lock is straining. It's holding.
What was this on again?
This is on the the last story, or the Forgotten Story.
The Untold Story. Okay.
The Untold
lock
Story.
is straining. Got it.
The lock is being strained by whatever it's holding in, but it's holding.
Okay. He'll go to Dreambreaker.
With those sights on, Austin, and you know what it is. You see what that is. That's a whole heap of nope.
Wheeling past that. The other one that has his interest is go ahead.
I was going to say, with Prime set on for both you and Theodis, I know it mightn't be what you guys are looking for. Proof that gods can bleed. The blood has a gigantically powerful Prime signature, even after all these years. But it is.
Yes. Yes.
I'm just pointing it out.
Yes.
What else is going on with my sites around proof that gods can bleed? That was my next one.
Not necessarily anything's going on with it. It is blood. You can tell with the matter site. It is dried blood on. It is dried blood on cotton, or some kind of, not necessarily cotton, but some kind of fabric. Whatever common fabric would be. But it is, the blood itself is incredibly powerful. It is incredibly potent. It has, points of quintessence in it still after all this time. Honelli, whoever the entity is that owned that blood, you would not want to meet them in the dark alley.
Yeah. All right, that's terrifying. And then he's gonna roll past the map. He's gonna go to the cricket cage and cricket.
Okay, awesome. This is another interesting one as you look at the cricket.
Yeah.
The cage is an immensely powerful sealant. It's keeping in the cricket, but you can't see the cricket beyond the cage. Except if you have mind sight on, the cricket is probably more intelligent than all of you. If you look at its mind.
Yes.
God damn it.
Oh.
But basically, from all the rest of your perceptions, the cage itself is keeping the cricket in, so you can't see the cricket's prime signature, but you assume it has one. You can't see its life signature either. But the cage is basically is clearly there to contain it.
Release me, mortal.
That's where my brain's going.
I am the one who chirps.
No,
I'm hot.
and I already got the rundown from the others on the unknown or the Lazarus document.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't need to cover that. And then I'm gonna go to the cipher program.
Okay. Do you want to roll me intelligence hypertech? It's going to be difficulty 7 and threshold of 2 successes.
Does it, before we get to the hypertech stuff, does it get anything with the magic, with the woodgy eyes?
No, it's literally just text documents.
Okay. And then my book smarts.
Oh yeah, book smarts will definitely kick in here.
All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
This is an entire comprehensive day by day.
Sorry.
Cool. This is an entirely comprehensive outline for the cipher program as to how exactly they bred the first 9 of the cipher children and how they were genetically modified, the cybernetic implants, etc., in order to birth them and give them the level of control over causality that they now possess. Austin, they did horrible things to these children. Oh, sweet Jesus. They literally stripped them of all semblance of humanity via room 101 5-year-olds.
Ooh.
It has no emotions. It only has the cold, calculated logic to complete its task. Its task was the destruction of reality deviants. You also have an entire outline of its cybernetic brain and the enhancements thereof, which could be incredibly useful in the future.
Cool.
I will point out, really important point, you're allowed to read the file. However, unless you buy the actual item, you can't have memorized what you have read to the point that it will serve you, basically.
Okay. So there goes my taking a picture with it in my brain.
That would be against the rules of the auction.
Oh, it would.
So are you good? Have I answered all of your questions?
That's answered all of mine.
Cool. And last but not least, Budgun, you're up. What do you wanna poke anything in particular?
Let me look at the list. I don't think Budgun was going to get anything about that dossier in the cipher program, unless you can just roll technology for it. The The unknown manuscript. You've already said that it's basically can't understand it, but it is authored as Lazarus.
It's the author's name, according to it, is Lazarus. Yes.
Right. Can I do a quick occult check?
Yeah, you can.
There are a lot of Lazaruses.
Yeah, there are. I mean, there's a biblical. Well, depending on the difficulty, at the very least, I have one success.
I played that guy from Doctor Who.
Yeah, I've got. If it's D6, then 4 successes.
AFK real quick.
Once again, there are many historical and mythological figures named Lazarus. There is the biblical Lazarus. Maybe that's a thing.
Yeah, the dude who came back from the dead when Jesus told him to get the fuck up. All right. Well, what in conjunction with this particular? All right. Well, what in conjunction with this particular book and everything that's just been illustrated through the writings, can we reasonably concede that, eliminate the Lazaruses, which, if that's even a word, that it isn't?
I mean, it's a book about death, and Lazarus rose from the dead. Contemplate. It's one can sink into the other.
Are there many Lazaruses that rose from the dead?
No.
Okay.
I'm saying it is not an unreasonable assumption for it to be the biblical Lazarus.
Always did fancy meeting a zombie. Moving on. The reading.
Oh shit! By the way, sorry, Connor. Quick question: do you actually attempt to talk to the cricket?
No.
Okay. Sorry. Continue on.
That was a joke.
I fear the cricket.
I can imagine the cricket being like the parrot in Scary Movie 2 and just insult everyone.
Yes.
People, please stop giving me
sorry,
ideas. I do animalism. Moving on. The reading by the Obsidian Lantern. This is just pretty much, like Obsidian Lantern just saying, if you win this, I'll give you a free gift of prophecy.
Basically, yes.
All right. Don't think there's anything I can roll for that. I don't think.
If it helps, it's in very, very nice handwriting.
Yeah, but I don't think that Budgun can read it. I mean, it's not. I mean, it's not written in English, is it? It's written in Arabic script.
It's written in both. It's written in both English and Arabic.
Ah, okay. Right. The cricket cage. Actually, come to think of it, I was thinking of using animalism to try and talk to the cricket, but I don't think you can actually use animalism to communicate with insects. Can't you?
Yeah, you can use animalism to talk to insects if you like.
Yeah, it's just really hard because most of them are really unintelligent. But apparently, this one's really smart. So who knows?
Yeah, I suppose that's reasonable. I mean, who the fuck wants to talk to dung beetles?
That's right.
Yeah. Spudgun will probably just take a slight look at it from a slight distance. All right. People are twisting my arm. He's not going to say anything special. Fucking hell, Paul. He's just going to use animalism for Feral Whispers just to say hello. Question mark.
The cricket will sing, chirping, and the response you get is, well, this is degrading for both of us.
No joke. And she responds in chirping.
How are you making cricket noises? That's what I want to know.
Acting like a slightly mentally retarded pigeon. It's fine. Don't worry.
Everybody else in the place is just staring at like, what the fuck?
Yeah, and there's probably a little bit more
It wasn't
disconcert that the cricket is actually responding to Spudgun.
As the other vampires in the room are going, fucking Gangrel.
I would be very, very grateful, the cricket would say, if you would mind seeing to my extradition from this rather unpleasant prison.
I'll see about it.
Thank you.
Someone might be willing to at least pay a higher price, but if I do, what favor will you grant me? You are obviously more intelligent than most insects. Assuming I am correct.
I am... Just because you see me as an insect, that doesn't necessarily mean I'm an insect.
That's why I said if I am correct.
We shall see.
The map of Bethramara. Why does that name sound so familiar to me?
You ever seen Hellboy 2, The Golden Army?
No, I've only seen the first one.
Oh.
Maybe.
But I think I get where you're trying to go with it. Fuck it, I'll just throw some dice at the problem and see if that gets me anything. Would it be a cult or?
By the way, Bishop, you have your answer in your blue booking.
Evan, would it be a cult that I roll?
I beg your pardon?
I said, would it be a cult that I roll?
Yes, intelligence cult.
Alright, see if I can duplicate that roll. Nope, fuck all. Unless it's difficulty.
There you go then. No.
Alright, pass on. Proof that gods can bleed.
Hey, Evan, I sent you a PM that's pertinent to what's going on.
Coolio, I will check.
Right. I'm assuming that you said that the blood was dried.
Mm-hmm.
Can Spudgun sniff that? Obviously, he won't get any closer than he needs to or is allowed to. But could he sniff that blood using heightened senses if necessary?
Yeah, sure.
Okie dokes. I'm assuming this isn't human blood.
It's very difficult to tell. It's blood.
And here's me without the path of blood. Or thaumaturgy in general, for that matter.
The path of Spud.
Yeah, the path of Spud. Each level gives you progressively greater capacity to, It reduces difficulty of high projectile throwing of certain vegetables.
I just love the mental image that.
Actually, hang on. Carthage. With 2 dots in vampire lore. In fact, do you want me to just roll the vampire lore? I don't know if Spudgun actually knows this, like in character or not, but I'll just roll his intelligence vampire lore just to see what he gets. 2 successes, 8 and a 7. Can he safely say that he at least knows in passing about the legend of Carthage being a Brujah stronghold?
Yes.
Interesting. Interesting. Actually, I don't think you would know who exactly was there with that number of successes, but yeah, whatever. Okay, Dreambreaker, skip that one. Untold Story. Now my brain's killing me. Who the fuck are the Brothers Grimm?
They wrote an incredible amount of children's fables.
Yeah, like close to half of them.
Oh, fucking hell. I've got one on the tip of my tongue.
And they're twisted as hell.
Yeah, the originals are pretty fucked up. As a matter of fact, there's a no. I'll tell you that in character later on. But but it is at this moment, boys and girls, that this individual will in fact enter the room, leaning on a walking stick, and he walks up to the auctioneer's post, and he will look down at you all, and he'll say, "Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages, so delighted to see such a crowd turn out again for the books. We'll be starting the auction in approximately 10 minutes, so if anyone has any questions for me, well, what can I say? I'm an absolutely sparkling personality, and I do so look forward to hearing from you all, so by all means, please, feel free." If anyone wants to ask him anything, they can.
No, but I will look around to see if there's any more changelings present besides myself and Mr. Christian.
There are probably a handful of them. These are nameless, or rather, not necessarily nameless, but these are various different individuals of courtly rank and title who are milling about and looking at the various different objets d'art. If Austin wants to throw in a named one, he can feel free to do so.
Don't mind the ears, just an abomination.
No, nobody of note.
There you go.
There's a Slua, Redcap, a she.
Anyone who buys that evil club, my character will take particular note of, and will spread the word that this individual has the bane.
That is entirely valid.
Same here. Actually, Christian's on his way over to nudge Sir Falair and lean in closely to him.
Are we going to have a fight over the beat stick?
A biff you off. You want to biff you off, eh?
I don't want that beat stick. It's a crime to possess it.
He just whispers, "Sir Falair, I believe we should discuss the possibility of joining forces to obtain at least that item."
The map?
He blinks. No. That,
You mean
that
the bane?
abomination.
It's a crime to possess it.
And a blessing to destroy it.
I see what you're saying. If we do this, you're touching it. I'm going nowhere near it.
He gives a long look and then nods in acceptance.
Your house has no fear, and I'm terrified. He says that very dryly.
I'm going to give you an XP for that because that was fucking funny.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
He doesn't. There's no look of judgment on his face. It's just seriousness as he nods at you, looking into your eyes. Do not mistake me, sir. I do not fear that item. And yet, nevertheless, I am filled with dread of what it represents.
Mm-hmm.
As far as the map, I will share with you that in the interest of cooperation, this map would seem to have been written by the House of Smiths.
I've noticed that. And it's quite old, and it may be some usefulness to our current predicament.
It may. I noticed something of particular note with regards to the gates depicted on the map. The gates of forgetting.
Gotcha.
Oh yes, that map. Rather interesting little thing, wouldn't you agree? The auctioneer says he is standing right behind you. What is personal space?
Good evening, auctioneer.
It's a pleasure. Which name would you prefer? I can go with one or I can go with the other. Sir Falarin. That'll do for now. Wouldn't you agree, dearie?
In present company, sure, but if there are others about, then Sean would be just fine.
That's absolutely fine. And you, Sir Christian Dubois, a lion indeed. You were willing to literally light yourself on fire yesterday just to taste of the sweet, sweet wine of victory. I have to say, I approve of that level of go-getter spirit.
He sort of twists his face uncomfortably. It would seem that another had a greater thirst than I, and perhaps a greater need.
Oh, now, that's the funny thing with curses. When we're all afflicted by one, or when one of us is afflicted by one, the fact of the matter is, they think that's the be-all and end-all of the universe, don't they? They can never really see beyond the pale, beyond their own concerns. Tragic, really. If we all cared a little bit more, maybe the world would be a slightly brighter place.
What are you, fucking Nickelback?
Did you say that to him in character?
No.
That would have been great. You know what he would have done? He would have turned your spine to nickel.
This is only slightly better than iron.
I feel like if you mention Nickelback too much, then me and Sir Christian have to make banality checks.
And you're not wrong. Like, it'll be difficulty 10 because, fuck that. Look at this photograph, bitches. Anyway, moving on. Fuck Nickelback.
He nods at the auctioneer's statement and then tilts his head left and right. Alas, an opportunity slipped through my fingers, and yet I am still me after all.
Well, I mean, that depends. What do you want? You want some years taken off you, or rather, given back to you. Why don't you and I make a deal? And I might be able to do something about that.
Raises an eyebrow.
It's rather simple, really. What is it? A handful of years? Well, what's the value of a handful of years? So, I take it from something, and I give it to you. Nice and simple.
His confused look twists slowly into one of disgust.
His Sealy sensibilities wouldn't allow him to do that.
Oh, dear, dear, dear. Well, then, you can enjoy being the senior statesman for many years to come, I'm sure, Sir Christian.
He's glaring at the auctioneer, clenching his jaw.
Huh. My dear Sir Valerian, I wonder what will happen first. Will the Sealy crack, or will the entity have a brain aneurysm? It's one or the other.
That's a really good question.
Huh. Oh, well. He kind of pats Christian on the shoulder, like really condescendingly, and just kind of walks past him.
That is only... Well, I cannot decide if that is the first or second most distasteful offer I have heard in the restoration of my true state.
Maybe you should take it as a sign you should stop being so stubborn. And I have a very serious question for you, Sir Christian.
Yes?
He kind of looks you up and down. Do you dress like that to vex me?
He takes a moment to look himself up and down. I have left the sweats at home. This is a nice tracksuit. What is the matter with such?
You're a she, and you start acting like one.
So, for the record, before we continue on with what I will describe as straight eye for the she guy, does anyone else have any questions about the items they wish to ask the auctioneers walking around the room?
You know what? Fetus will go up to the auctioneer, and he'll say, good sir, if I may just have a moment to thank you for holding this event. It's an honor to be here. There's many interesting items on display.
Thank you, Mr. Crane. Considering the fact that you're such a lover of the written word, and considering the catastrophe that befell the Grand Library or the Central Library of Dublin after your coming into our community, I should think that you'd be very happy to have a chance to redeem the written word.
Yes, very much so. I was actually wondering if I could have a word with you about that manuscript. He points to the Lazarus manuscript. That's giving off some very interesting signatures.
Indeed. That is one of my most prized possessions, so I can only hope that I get my fair worth for it this evening. He snaps his fingers to the and the book snaps closed, like literally just onto the plinth itself, and he says, though I haven't actually read all the way through. The only person I know who has went entirely mad, but then again, sanity is just a matter of perspective, really, isn't it?
Hmm. Many people were viewed as insane before their time came.
Aye, there was a given time when people used to be burned at the stake for devilment, when it was the fact of the matter, they only had was schizophrenia. Shame that.
Minnie will walk up to her dear friend and offer him a cupcake.
He looks down at the cake. I accept your offering of delicious baked goods, I suppose.
Not sure why you say it like that, but I'm glad you like it.
I notice I do not have any delicious baked goods.
You need to get on that. Would you like some delicious baked goods?
You know, I think I would. Yes, please.
He snaps his fingers. He snaps his fingers. One of your fingers becomes an eclair.
Just
okay, maybe not the actual hand, but okay.
Oh my.
What was that, sorry?
maybe not my actual hand, but okay.
The cream filling.
I mean, they always said that you... No, I'm not going to make that joke about fingers.
There you go.
Swiftly.
Oh, the humanity.
He flexes his hand again, and your hand goes back to normal. He says, in my presence, Mr. Green, you should always learn to watch your wording. I'll give you that piece of information for free.
Oh, that's very generous of you. Thank you.
But yes, the Lazarus documents. Those are pretty interesting. That's not its actual name, you know. I just like to call it that as a brief summary. But it actually has a name. But then again, I'll only tell the owner of the book that because it's something got to do with the actual onus of the thing. You understand?
No, I very much understand. In any case, thank you again.
You're very welcome. Anyone else? Any questions before I start to open up the evening's proceedings?
Actually, quick OC question. If we
Yes.
have characters who want to bid on multiple things, different characters who want to bid on things, how's that handled?
Okay, you're not allowed to bid on the same thing as the same character because I swear to God, I hate.
Oh no. My two characters want to bid on entirely separate things, but
then what happens is basically change your picture and you can bid on different things as different people.
cool. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. All right. So with that in mind, the auctioneer will walk towards the top of the room, and we're going to end this hangout. I'm going to create the one for the actual auction. So thank you, players, for playing. Thank you, watchers, for watching. This has been another Scene in Darkness in Dublin. Have a pleasant evening.